Friends, Europe has just issued a direct warning to the United States, and with that, a 25-year-old American strategic dream has suddenly been put on ice. What happened in Davos wasn't just another World Economic Forum debate, it was a power clash, raw, public, and historic. On the very stage of Davos, President Donald Trump delivered a statement so explosive that Europe's top leaders were left stunned. And as soon as he stepped off that stage, Trump revealed a strategic truth about India that shook the entire global elite. The icy valleys of Davos, Switzerland, weren't frozen just by snow this year. They were frozen by a deep crack forming in US-Europe relations. This time, the World Economic Forum wasn't about economics. It became a battle arena. European leaders dropped their defensive posture and openly attacked Trump's tariff policies, obsession with Greenland, and his hardline America First doctrine. But the real turning point came when Trump took the stage. Trump assumed, as always, that he would dominate the room. But this time, Europe's ego was just as strong. The moment Trump's speech ended, Europe made a move Washington never expected. Cameras rolled as the European Parliament's Trade Committee announced, all US-EU trade negotiations are frozen. Everything is suspended. Europe's accusation was blunt and clear. Trump was using tariffs as a weapon to pressure Europe into surrendering Greenland. For Europe, Greenland is not just land. It's about sovereignty, dignity, and fear of precedent. Because today, it's Greenland. Tomorrow, it could be any country. And that's when the entire game flipped. Trump fired back instantly. He announced that starting February 1st, countries like Denmark, Germany, France, Sweden, and even the UK would face a 10% tariff. And by June, if Greenland talks didn't move forward, that tariff could rise to 25%. This was no longer a trade dispute. This had turned into a full-scale economic war. But the real shockwave hit Davos when Trump said this on stage. If it wasn't for the United States, Europe would be speaking German today. At that moment, the entire hall went silent. Leaders like Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, sat frozen in their seats. A statement like that, on a global munch like WEF, was unprecedented. Over nearly 1 hour, Trump listed America's GDP growth, investment numbers, and economic strength. But his real targets were Europe and NATO. Trump called NATO a one-sided deal. He questioned whether Europe would ever stand for America the way America stands for Europe. He attacked Europe's green energy agenda, its migration policies, and accused the continent of losing its identity. On Greenland, Trump dismissed it as just ice, but insisted that only the United States could keep it secure. He issued a direct negotiation ultimatum to Denmark and NATO allies. The situation became so tense that even Swiss officials publicly admitted, if a president has to reassure allies that he won't use force, the situation is already serious. But friends, when two mountains collide, a new path always opens in between. And that path is opening for India. Amid this US-Europe confrontation, new opportunities are emerging for rising powers. At Davos, Trump was asked directly, "What is your plan for India?" And without hesitation, Trump said, he has great respect for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He considers Modi a good friend, and this is where the next chapter begins. The same NATO Trump is putting on trial, one of its most powerful members, Spain, is now transferring high-end defense technology to India. India and Spain's 70-year-old friendship has officially entered a new era. The Tata-Airbus C295 deal is not just a contract, it's a strategic milestone. 16 aircraft will come directly from Spain, 40 aircraft will be fully manufactured in Vadodara, India, over 18,000 components will be assembled inside India. For the first time in history, a private Indian company is manufacturing a military aircraft. Spain is a NATO member. India is non-aligned. Yet the technology flows to India. This is not coincidence. This is India's smart diplomacy. While America and Europe clash head-on, India is quietly positioning itself as the next indispensable global power.